Yo, what is up world? My name is here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. It is really good to see you guys. This week's vlog, we're going to be talking about my pre-production approach, my lookbook, pitch deck to a director for a new short film that I'm going to be working on in December, and it's called The Model Minority, the Musical. So before we get into it, roll the intro, and I'll see you soon. Alright, so like I said, this is my lookbook that I'm going to be handing off to the director. Her name is Katya. She's amazing. Another USC student, which this is a USC senior thesis. Another one that I'm very, very fortunate to be working on. And again, the story is called Model Minority, the Musical. It is a musical, and I'm really, really excited because I've never had a chance to film a musical. So this is something that I have worked on and I'm very proud of. And I've put a lot of thought into it according to the script. And it's just a lot of my initial knee-jerk reactions or emotions towards the script. Now, if you've never done this before, this is something that you will probably end up doing for every single film that you work on as a cinematographer and even as a director. So really, you're just going to go through and give your thoughts, how the world should look visually, how it should feel, what's the tone, what's the lighting, what's the composition, what's the camera movement. And those are all the things that I actually do for my lookbook / pitch deck, however you want to call it. So this is just one form of how I communicate how I'm feeling and how I see the film unraveling in front of my very own eyes. So let's just jump right into it. All right, so this is going to be my very first time ever filming with anamorphic lenses, which I'm so excited for. The aspect ratio of 2:3:9:1, which is just a really skinny frame. It's not a very tall frame. It's quite skinny, and some of the models that I'm actually pulling from and some of the inspirations are from Wakanda Forever, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Teen Spirit. So the director and I landed on this decision because anamorphic is just something that feels right for this story. There's going to be a lot of flares that are going to really externalize the character's internal emotions, which is one way that you can use the anamorphic lenses. And then also just having twice the amount of length as there is height really just gives a lot of room to play with within the frame. Now again, these are all ideas that really are catered toward the story. It isn't just because it's anamorphic and it looks cool and it feels right. It actually speaks to the story, which is something that, again, the director and I have landed on. Next up, I love to talk about composition. And what does that mean? Composition is just how you frame up your shots. Who's in the frame, what's in the frame, and how does it speak to the story, to the scene, to the character. Now, shooting over the shoulders can really mean whatever you want it to be, which everything about film is so subjective. As the filmmakers, you have the choice to create what a over the shoulder means, what it feels like, what it looks like, and how it contrasts to a single shot, a clean single of someone in the frame. So I've come up with some rules, and one of them is over the shoulders during times of shared experiences, like when we see both Hank in Dee's house, which is some of the characters, and Nina, which is the main character of the film, is in the center point of the entire conversation. So using over-the-shoulder shots will help highlight that. To counter that idea, the notion of over-the-shoulder shots, the power of when and how we use single shots, will really contrast the over-the-shoulder shots to allow Nina and Jade, who is another character in the film, a supporting character I should say, and other characters feel a disconnect or independence. So again, composition is so huge, and just because I'm using over-the-shoulder shots for this particular film does not mean that it means the same exact thing for any other film. Again, film is so subjective, you can come up with your own rules, and that's the beauty of it. These rules become monikers of like when and how you want the audience to feel. Now, it may not be on the nose and be yelling at you and just so obvious, but it's something that should be kind of like underneath the tones of what the scene is trying to say. This is something that I'm always constantly trying to do as a cinematographer, is just find subtle ways to speak what the characters are saying, but in a very visual way, if that makes any sense. And then moving on to lighting, this is, again, one of the most important things of the film, or of a film, as you can imagine. So my approach for this particular film is something that is brand new. I'm getting a lot of inspiration recently from Autumn Gerald Arkapaw, who is the cinematographer, or I should say was the cinematographer of Wakanda Forever. And I just love the way that she approaches lighting, how it just feels so soft, so contrasty, and so right for every single scene.
Queen of the most powerful nation in the world, and my entire family is gone. Have I not given everything?
Now, what I've noticed is her approach is to light from above.
I do love top lights, but not all women can handle them, so you've got to fill them in here. So that light's just, it goes from top to soft with the gem ball, and then we carry it in under the eyes a little bit with that little 1x1.
This is something that is very unfamiliar and very different from me. I usually have gone through the whole Roger Deakins approach, which is really just lighting from the floor and just off to the side. I really want to challenge myself and try to put lights above our characters and light the scene from above. Now, what that does for me is that as a cinematographer, it allows me to really control when we see eye light in a character's eyes. Now, that is something that is so subjective. And again, let me remind you that everything that you do as a filmmaker is a subjective decision. It really just means how you want the characters and how you want the scene and the world and the tone to be fulfilled. So again, I really just want to control the lighting from above to really isolate and really specify when I want to have eye light in a character's eyes, because to me, that could mean hope, that could mean terror, that could mean anything that I really set the role, or I wouldn't just say anything that the director and I set the rules to what an eye light means, when we see it, and why we see it. All right, and last but not least, we have camera movement. And I didn't say it before, but this script has 2 huge fight scenes. Now, this is a first for me. I have never filmed a fight scene before, but the director, Katya, and we have major influences from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, FK Twigs music video, and they're just elegant movement of the camera as the fight scenes unfold. We really want to try to emulate and capture that same tone and mood. Now, having handheld shots during fighting scenes really reads so much differently than seeing a scene from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And that's kind of the approach that we want to take. These fight scenes are a tragedy, yet there is something beautiful and something controlled about the camera movement that the director and I really want to implore. And that wraps up my lookbook / pitch deck that I will present to the director. And let me know what you guys think and how you approach these things as a cinematographer, as a director. How are you collecting your thoughts and submitting them to the other filmmakers a part of the films? Okay, and lastly, I just wanted to share a few little mock-ups of blocking and the scene building and the world building, and really just previs, I should just say. I want to share with you some previs of what I've done so far to kind of help characterize, to help draw out the world that I'm seeing. Now, this program that I use is Cinetracer 2. You can get this on Steam. It's not very expensive, and it's super helpful if you're trying to do a little previs for whatever you are filming. And if you haven't heard of this program or this game or this app, however you want to call it or categorize it, it's really powerful because you can bring in characters, you can pretty much create the entire world that you see, you can set the camera to the exact focal length, the aperture, you can place lights that actually interact with the world how they normally would in the real world and get a very, very accurate look at what that scene should look like. And I love doing this because it's so helpful for me as a cinematographer and also for the director to see what I'm seeing and how we can both kind of tie down our thoughts together on how we want this scene to look. Now, again, it's not only just for myself and the director, it's also for production design, it's also for set design, and for anyone and everyone else on the set specifically, as I'm thinking about it. Like my lighting team, they can come in and really see exactly how I see the world and where I want the lights. So that way, when we get on set, we have the most head start, running start to achieving our day and the look that we planned way in advance. All right, so I hope you enjoyed another look at how I do my pitch deck / lookbook, and hopefully it was helpful for you. And if you have any better ways to categorize your thoughts and how you kind of transfer all of what you're thinking and seeing about a script, about a story, about a project to everyone else on the entire project or the team. Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to kind of build off of what I already have, and I'm always wondering how I can make it stronger and how I can make my lines of communication just so much easier to read. Anyways, if you enjoyed this week's vlog, you know what to do. Go ahead and do a super jump on the like button down below, and also get subscribed to the YouTube channel because yes, every single Wednesday it's a brand new vlog. I'm Matt Habib, the cinematographer / student, and I'll see you all in 7 days. Fight on.